Okay, Nick, we've got you on, and I know Robert is on as well as
Okay.
two members of our Community Affairs Committee. So I'll turn the meeting over to you.
All right. Thanks, Michelle. And hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the meeting tonight. I will go ahead and kick it off with some introductory comments. First, as I said, thank you for coming. Want to reiterate and just set the tone that the Orange County Fair and Event Center is a state-owned and operated public asset, as you guys probably know. It's important to the committee and to the board to understand and respond to the interests of the people of Orange County. We're very proud that the annual OC Fair continues to attract a wide audience from throughout Southern California who come to enjoy food, entertainment, exhibits, animals, and fun. Our annual demographic survey shows that the OC Fair is attended by representatives from all communities within Orange County, and actually that the attendance mirrors the gender, ethnic, and cultural makeup of the county as a whole, something that we're actually very proud of. So while you may have read that this committee was formed to address diversity issues that exist at the OC Fair and Event Center, or you might have also read that tonight's open public meeting is about debating whether or not to display the pride flag. That is not the case. The purpose of this newly formed Community Affairs Committee is to oversee the board's relationship with the community. This will include a wide range of topics such as diversity, equity, and inclusion, how the OC Fair and Event Center can continue to engage with the community, and how we can continue to foster strong relationships with local, county, and state elected officials. In order to do that, the committee must first understand what the interests are of the community and how the public would like to see those interests celebrated at the OC Fair and Event Center. The first step the committee took to accomplish this was to conduct a survey to gather input from the community. The survey sent through several of our databases and channels to reach people who had an affinity with the OC Fair and Event Center brand, people who care about our organization, and to folks who have expressed interest in providing feedback on a regular basis. The next step the committee took was to schedule this public meeting to gather further input about what interests the community we serve. And that is why we're here today. Just to note that feedback from that survey that I mentioned will be combined with feedback that we've gathered via email and here at the meeting, will all be provided as a report from the committee at the January 28th board meeting. So if you're looking to hear the results of that survey, they will be presented at the January 28th board meeting. There won't be any debate today, just really information gathering. The committee has no authority to make decisions on behalf of the board. So again, the committee has no authority to make any decisions on behalf of the board. And we'd like this to be an open discussion. So we'll be dispensing from the typical formalities of a regular board meeting. We're essentially here because we want to hear from you. We want to hear from the public and from the community.
But Director Kovacevic, we should kick it off with the Pledge of Allegiance, since this is an open public meeting, if that's okay.
You are absolutely right. We should kick it off with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I would ask if my colleague, Director Ruiz, would like to lead us in that pledge.
Absolutely. Thank you. If you will all rise, please, and put your right hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ruiz. Okay. So checking the Zoom here, we have about 56 people attending. I just got actually a message that we do need to do roll for this meeting as well. So one additional formality. Summer, do you want to do the roll call?
Yes, thank you. Committee Chair Nick Kovacevic,
Present.
Committee Member Director Robert Ruiz.
Present.
I also saw Director Aiken
Present.
and Director LaBelle.
Present.
Thank you. Any other board directors attending? Hearing none, thank you. Director Kovacevic, back to you.
Okay, great. And given the amount of attendees, I think we will have Summer take names of those who would like to speak, and then Summer can call on them one by one as we go into the questions. So I'll prepare the first question here in a second. Just to remind everyone, you can use your chat feature on Zoom, which obviously a lot of you are already doing, in order to submit that request to speak as we get into the questions. And we would recommend limiting the speaking time just in light of the fact that there's so many people on this call. We want to give everybody the opportunity to speak. So we want to hear from you, but to the extent you could be brief and allow for other folks, that would be much appreciated. Okay, great. So the first question that I will pose to the group here. As I mentioned, this committee was formed to oversee the board's relationship with the community. As representatives of our community, what topics are of interest to you that you think the committee should address?
So again, if you'd like to speak to that question, please feel free to enter your name in the chat, and Summer will call on people as, in order. And then if you're on a call or you don't have the chat feature, we can take your comments as well. So Summer, do we have anybody that has indicated they'd like to speak?
We do have quite a few, and I'm going to try to get people in the order that they jumped into the chat. First person that messaged was, I'm going to call the first three names, Stephanie Camacho, followed by Kelly Avakian, Laura Horgan, and O.C. Valtine. We'll take Stephanie first when you're ready.
Thank you and good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Camacho Van Dyke, and I'm the Director of Advocacy and Education at the LGBTQ Center OC. Today, I'm speaking to request the reinstatement of the Pride flag at the Orange County Fairgrounds. As of this afternoon, the LGBTQ Center OC has collected 200 signatures from community members who are calling to reinstate the Pride flag at the Orange County Fairgrounds. It's important that the fairgrounds acknowledge and create a welcoming space for all its community members, including those who are LGBTQ. This is not the time to step back. Pride for our community should not begin or end at Pride Month in June. I think allowing the Pride flag to be continuously flown sends a clear message, one that is of inclusion and representation, while also calling attention to issues that are important to our community, such as addressing discrimination and erasure, especially as hate crimes and incidences towards LGBTQ people have increased over the past 5 years here in Orange County. And so with that said, Orange County is a place where diversity and difference should be celebrated and embraced. And I encourage you, when you do reinstate our community's flag, that you please fly the progressive flag, which includes Black and brown stripes to represent LGBTQ communities of color, along with the colors pink, light blue, and white, which are used to represent the trans Pride flag. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Stephanie. We appreciate that. And, I'm glad that we right out the gate identified the flag issue as an important issue. I think we're aware of that. And it is certainly something that we'll have further discussion at the next board meeting as we present the survey results. Just one thing to clarify, Stephanie, and I don't know if you know this, but the pride flag is flying at the OC fairgrounds. So nothing has changed with the pride flag, which is kind of what I was mentioning in my comments. I think there was a little a bit of a misconception given maybe some of the material that was printed, that there was a change with the pride flag. The pride flag is flying high,
Yeah.
and this meeting we're not going to be doing any sort of voting on the pride flag. So that is an important issue. Glad you brought it up, and certainly something that the Community Affairs Committee is going to continue to discuss and ultimately probably discuss with the board at some point as well.
Yes, through the chair. I also wanted to echo your comments as well. You know, I think people got the misconception of what this meeting was about. Like you said earlier, this is not to get rid of the flag. Like Chair Kovacevic just said, the flag is flying. We just want to hear input from the public, what else they would like to see. We want to reach out to the community and get their input, their thoughts on things of diversity. We're not here to vote to get rid of a flag. That's not what this meeting is about. So we welcome all speakers, but that's not what this meeting is about. And this committee does not have the power to do that if that was the case. We'd like to hear your comments, and I'm hoping to hear more comments as to what people want to see here at the fairgrounds as far as diversity goes. Thank you.
Yep. So just revisiting the question that I posed, exactly what Director Ruiz said. What topics are of interest to you that you think the committee should address? And obviously, the flag issue is been noted. Summer, if we could grab the next speaker, that'd be great. Thank you.
Kelly Avakian, when you're ready.
Hi, thank you for letting us take the survey. It showed that the community wants, like at the fairgrounds, a big diverse like food and diverse, you know, like weeks every week, not every week, but however so often at the fair of everyone's different cultures. I think that would be amazing there. Also, I'm going to address the flag issue. I know that several of the council members a couple years ago said we were going to have a problem if we flew the pride flag because then you're going to want several of the flags. But I do feel that the fairgrounds, especially even to those, I go there for equestrian, we should be flying the FEI, which is the Federation Equestrian Flag International, because my daughter was on the USA team. I think we need the USA Federation equestrian flag there. I have my kids are involved in 4-H. I think that flag needs to be up there. We also have baseball teams, and then like AYSO is across the street with a big event that the pilot puts on for all the schools in Orange County. So I think we should be having like an AYSO soccer flag up there. I think it's just having one flag is not really fair when you need to have all the flags up there. So since that one's flying, I feel like the other ones, you should be giving thought to the other flags as well. And then keeping up with all the diversity and foods and carnivals. I know you can't have those, but some way, like even the food trucks and even a drive-through of community at the fairgrounds of cultural parades, you know, once a month or however often you guys see fit budget-wise. I don't know how much that costs, but thank you for your time.
Great, thank you, Kelly. Appreciate it. Okay, let's, who do we have next, Summer?
Up next, we have Laura Horgan. After that is OC Vol Team.
Thank you very much. I just want to briefly reinforce how important the pride flag is to me as someone who lost my brother to suicide. My brother was a member of the LGBTQ community, and I watched very decent, upstanding citizens say things to him, otherwise decent, upstanding citizens say things to him like, if there's one thing I hate, it's a faggot. And things like that happened all over Orange County. He was a victim of gay bashing, his nose broken, and so he ultimately couldn't take it anymore, and he took his life. And that is why the pride flag is different than any other flag. I'm not aware of any other group where people feel so comfortable saying things like what people said to my brother, and the consequences of those statements being so horrific. So thank you very much for letting me express my support for the pride flag.
Thank you for sharing that. It's very difficult to hear that stuff happens in our community, but it is the reality. So thank you for sharing that personal story. Summer, who do we have next?
OC Vaulting, followed by Gabrielle Gutierrez. One more time for OC Vaulting. Let's go ahead and move on to Gabrielle Gutierrez then when you're ready. Oh. Then we're going to move on to Erin McCall.
Can you hear me now?
Who's speaking?
Gibran.
Oh,
OC Vaulting.
hi, Gibran. Okay, OC Vaulting. Go ahead. Go ahead,
Sorry.
Gibran.
Yes. Hi. I'm happy that there's a diversity committee. I'm a little sad that there's so much turmoil over a flag during these times when there's people who are losing their businesses and their homes and their lives. I think we all can agree that it's an important issue, and I think that comparing it to Little League is a mistake because clearly this is a larger issue. As an equestrian, 50-year equestrian and a daily user of the property for the last 8 years, as well as a former 4-H leader, I can tell you that we do not want an equestrian flag flying. What we would like to see, and what is more important, I think, for all of us to agree on is actions speak louder than words. And not to make light of flags, but I feel like the flag is really words. And I think what's more important is actions. And I think we would like to see actions on the part of the board to include the diverse community that we live in, which is Orange County, and to really see programs and to see actions. I want to see actions, and we have some great opportunities with some great space here and some great people to really see some community collaboration and integration. And I would really love to see the focus on the actions more so than on the flags. As I said, I've been on the property daily using it for the last 8 years. It's not the flag that I see, it's the people, it's the faces, it's the people that you interact with on a daily basis. So I think that that's where the important focus is, especially now during these trying times. So thank you so much for letting me talk.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Erin McCall. When you're ready.
Hello. Yes, hi, my name is Erin McCall. Thank you so much for this time. I am a Costa Mesa resident and an avid fair visitor. And I just wanted to say, first off, thank you so much for taking the brave steps of having the pride flag flying over. As a young person, I cannot highlight what it means to see the pride flag as a young person who grew up and lived in Orange County. The Trevor Project just released a survey of their young people during the pandemic and showed that up to 40% of the young people in the United States are facing forms of oppression and depression to that. And that's leading some of those young folks to consider suicide because they are not feeling accepted. And it's a very simple fix, and that is to show acceptance. And so the things that I would like to see as a resident of Costa Mesa and frequent user of the event space is not only to continue the use of the flag and continue to show that solidarity and support for our young LGBT people, but also to highlight the amazing crafters and business owners who are part of this community that reside in Orange County, but might not necessarily have a space or platform to amplify their businesses, to amplify their arts. And so creating opportunities such as, the LGBT street fair, or, or, highlighting LGBT artists is a great opportunity to not only just show the symbol of the support that our state sponsored center is doing, but also to once again, reiterate that action of that support of, and increasing the diversity. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for hearing my voice. Have a great day.
All right, thank you. It's great feedback idea there on getting the community more involved in the events that are happening. So thank you for that. Summer, do we have more?
Wendy Lisi, followed by Pamela Smith. Wendy, when you're ready, or if you'd still like to speak, you're on mute, Wendy.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity for us to give input. I know you're not voting today. I missed my fair food fix this summer, but I love the fair. My daughter had some pictures. She worked at the art exhibit a few years ago, and she had some early Costa Mesa pictures framed for me. I think we have such a diverse community in Orange County. Two things I'd like to have you consider. For many years, even as a young mom, I worked in what was called Noah's Ark. And it was where the group called Child Evangelism asked for volunteers, and we were able to share Bible stories in the Ark. And it was kind of a diversion. The parents could kind of take a break and let their kids go in and hear just a short 3-minute Bible story. Usually it was about Noah and the Ark. A few years ago, that door was closed. So if we're going to talk about diversity and inclusion, I think we need to look at that as part of our community of faith-based people who would like to continue this long tradition of the Ark. I think the Ark is still stored somewhere. The other issue that I participated in for many years was a table or a booth that passed out pro-life materials to women or people that wanted to know about other options for a crisis pregnancy. And that table was taken away. I remember one year I had to stand outside on the sidewalk. We were permitted to do that. I work at a mental hospital. I teach kids who are there because they're depression and anxiety, and they are suicidal. So the last thing I want to say is I think it's really important that this year, as soon as we're able to open up, that we go out of our way to provide all the mental health resources for everyone. That everybody's been through a long haul here. Hopefully things will get better. But young people, mental health, I have several young people who are struggling with their identity, and yes, they are depressed and they're anxious about it, and they've been rejected. But there are other kids too that are there for many other issues, family issues too, family support. We're in a whole new era. So as far as the flag, I think if we're going to fly the flag, and we might have to fly for other organizations or other political causes too, but I also think we need to restore the Ark and allow everybody who wants to pass out literature the freedom to do that at the fair. So thank you for giving me the time to speak today.
All right, thank you, Wendy, and I'm sorry to hear you couldn't make it to the drive-through fair food event we had this summer. I actually got to go myself. It was quite delicious.
I'll try.
Well, we'll see you next summer. So, all right, Summer.
Pamela Smith, when you're ready.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I was also ready to speak on the flag issue, but I hope that what I say could maybe be applied more broadly and somewhat in reply to some of the other, or adding on to some of the other comments. I'm also a regular fair goer, and I've grown up and lived in Orange County most of my life. I think this past year, most certainly, but these past several years have really shown a spotlight on the inequities of the county, cities, county, country, kind of all of the above. And I think too, when I hear kind of comparisons made of, the pride flags, what it represents compared to like Little League or this or that, I go back to the comments some others have shared about the particular marginalization and the risks that come with that for LGBTQ individuals, especially teenagers, and especially at this time where many of them have unfortunately been stuck in households with bigoted family members. We also know that acceptance versus rejection is one of the major kind of differences in LGBTQ individuals who do well in terms of mental health and contribution to the community and well-being versus those who struggle with substance abuse, with suicidal ideation, and other problems of mental health and physical health as well. And so I think like others, to echo what other people said, it's really not a fair comparison because we're talking about people's inherent identity, not something that they learned or something that they chose. And certainly it's not politics if we're talking about somebody's sense of self. So I don't really see how that's a fair comparison, but I do want to reiterate, when you feel rejected by many of the people in your life, especially the people who are supposed to love you, when you see that symbol, and the flag is a symbol, you're right, it's not action, it is just symbolic, but that symbol is very important because that symbol is an invitation. And it's not just an invitation to LGBTQ individuals, it's a message of, I think what, I'm sorry, I forget your name, but one of the, Mr. Kovacevic was saying is that it is a diverse fair and it has diverse participants. And if we want to keep that door open, we have to have symbols available and activities available that make people feel welcome. Because when you're at risk of death, when you're at risk of rejection, you go try to be with people that you don't feel like will hurt you. And that creates, this void. So I think that's what I wanted to share. Just in my professional experience, teaching developmental psychology, being a marriage and family therapist, specializing in teenagers and children, and having seen people of all ages with all variety of identity issue, that's why the pride flag is so important. It's not politics. It's not just a hand wave. It represents feeling safe and included in our county at a time when, there's a lot of violence and hatred right now. So thank you very much. I'm kind of nervous, but I've never spoke at one of these, but that's what I wanted to share from my personal and professional experience. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. We appreciate it.
Okay, up next we have my VROC. When you're ready.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Nice seeing you all. My name is May, and I'm from Viet Rainbow of Orange County, other known as VROC. I'm also here talking about the pride flag, but I also want to highlight some things. I think a lot of the results here that I've seen, in my opinion, is coming from a different approach, right? That a lot of typical, county funded or a lot of governmentally funded programs happen is just that there's a detachment between outreach and engagement, right? And so the reason why I'm here is actually the lack of engagement that is happening. And I think in hopes of talking about the pride flag, similar to Pamela, that this really reflects to the diversity conversation. I think, what you all are doing here is great. This is the first to what I know of what you all are, having this community participatory act, right? The survey was great. Though my issue was that the survey was sent out to, my knowledge was that to Orange County residents, and now hearing that as constituents or whatnot of of OC Fairs, I felt like there's a lack of transparency in my case. Since looking at the survey's questions, it does not align, right? But bringing back to the pride flag conversation, I think the entertaining of that conversation these past few months really sends a message to the community right now, and it's the message that OC Fairground is having a lack of effort of representing all Orange County residents, right? Because you're entertaining a conversation of exclusion, right? I mean, the pride flag is definitely not the only solution to our LGBTQ problem. It's definitely not a solution. But you know, for us, it's actually, it shows that history of exclusion and hate, right, towards of LGBTQ community. And so I think, though we're not talking about the pride flag, but I want to affirm or really push a message to you all and the directors and the board, is that, you know, in keeping the pride flag or even entertaining that conversation really doesn't help our community. And to make sure that you're putting out a message that say that LGBTQ people are safe here and that we're welcome here, right? And so I ask you to stop, to stop the focus or even stop entertaining that conversation and really begin focus on what you're doing right now. It's actually engaging the community in active questions, right? And I think, really reevaluating the questions that you're asking, right? And instead of going to the community and having the community do the work for you in the sense of what do you want, it's more what can we do for the community, and really look at the path point to how we can bring that in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mai. Pat Davis, when you're ready.
Hi, thank you. I see that Liz Sanchez had asked to be on the list well before I joined in. Could she go first, or they go first and I'll join in?
If that's okay, sure. You said Liz Sanchez?
Please.
I must have missed her. Okay, Liz Sanchez, when you're ready.
Pat, thank you so much. That's so incredible of you to think of me, and yeah, thank you for paying attention and help me out there. I absolutely appreciate that. Okay, hi y'all. My name is Liz Sanchez. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I am a college educator in the North Orange County Community College District. I teach Intro to LGBTQ Studies. I also partner with ethnic study teachers in Orange County as well to bring a queer lens and queer curriculum to ethnic studies, and to so collaborating on education in our local schools. I want to start off about the experiences, of my students, and also as a queer educator, how difficult it is to explore our histories, how difficult it is to talk about our civil rights leaders, how difficult it is to talk about our lived experiences, because that symbolic interaction is often missing within our communities. A pride flag, it represents more than, I think, what a lot of people envision is sort of like, the summertime pride parade, and it's a celebration. What I want to connect it to is the POW flag. A lot of people, I think majorities, cisgender hetero folks are comfortable with the American flag and the POW flag because it represents something very historical for them. I don't see much debate over those flags. But for someone like myself and my students, we reflect on our civil rights leaders who have gone missing and who have died trying to thrive and survive in here in this country. Trans women, drag queens, drag kings, gender nonconforming folks, gender benders, queer folks, everyone across the spectrum of LGBTQ community has faced some type of violence, and even the worst of again, when it comes to death and going missing, and we are losing members of the community we have historically. So that flag reminds us of our queer and trans ancestors. And when my students are learning about this in higher education, so many of them are always asking, like, why didn't I learn this? Why didn't I learn this growing up? Why didn't I have these role models taught to me in education? And so we have to fill in those gaps. And we're trying to do that now because Orange County historically has not provided us those opportunities, or they have not provided us teachers, specifically the support. The FAIR Act was passed many years ago. CHIA was passed, but we are still fighting to implement these curriculums within our schools. So having a flag flowing at the fairgrounds, that is a huge thing for us. That symbol is our history. It's a reminder of what we're trying to survive, and it's honoring those we have lost. This survey, I have to admit, was rather, I do turn to my community and I ask that I see folks here that I do organize with and have cross paths with. Let's definitely do better in trying to distribute this survey. I barely got it yesterday, and I truly wish that, we're able to get it beforehand. But I also don't, blame activist commitments. I want to really, push this board to make sure it is distributed in a very fair manner. So it's like outreaching to teachers who are involved, the community organizations, making sure that you're being intentional and that we are getting surveys such as these. I believe that's basically, I just want to really just reiterate, like, it's important that we put this flag up. It's part of our history. I want my students to feel prideful. I want them to feel represented. I want our history to be taught to others, because it's important that we are intersectional in our everyday lives, meaning that we are honoring all of those who have been historically disadvantaged, no matter what institution that we are in. So please, whatever decision is made or what conversation looks like, let's work towards keeping that flag up there, and other flags that represent cultural communities that have been disadvantaged within this country and need their stories to be told. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Real quick, because I know this has come up a couple of times about the survey. Michelle, do you want to go over how that survey was administered, just so everyone's kind of on the same page?
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
First of all, we engaged the services of a professional survey company. We wanted to make sure that that we had very, very good professional advice on getting the survey out. It was sent to a database. Actually, there were several channels that we used. One being our regular newsletter database. And those are people that have signed up for our newsletter, that have expressed interest in the OC Fair and Event Center and what we do here. We also put it out on all of our social media channels, and probably many of you picked it up from there. It went out on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And then we posted on our website as well.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
All right, do we have, I think we had another speaker behind Liz.
Yeah, we do have several more. Like
Okay.
Pat Davis, followed by Reggie Mundicus, Gabrielle Gutierrez, and Robert Fisher are the next ones in the queue. So Pat Davis, when you're ready.
Thank you, Summer. Balancing all this must be fun. I did have a question as to Nicholas's first question, and having been in board meetings before and back last summer when the whole issue of the flag came up, and I guess I was surprised to see how it came up. So I see the confusion, and thank you for the clarification on the survey, because I wrote to ask about it after the Voice of OC article. But I do agree with so many of the other comments that are so open to just the bigger picture that the flag represents. And I think that there are other things that the Fair Board needs to manage and look at, and certainly that marketplace. That's usually when I've been in the room, because I've watched friends' businesses just shrivel and fall apart. So again, I support the work of the committee. I'm glad you clarified up front, and I think everybody here will hold you to the fact that the flag will stay, and there will be increased openness in moving forward with the addressing that issue. So thank you for being open to that. And Nicholas, I know someone wanted to answer your question, and my question of that was it made clear the scope of this committee so we could make comments similarly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nick, could I also add too that anyone who missed the survey and have contacted us, they've been invited to submit their thoughts through our OCF@ocfair.com email address. And that's what you referred to about additional emails and feedback from this meeting will be combined with the feedback from the survey too. I just wanted to clarify that if there were people that sent in emails, rest assured that the board will see all of those.
Great point, Michelle. Great point.
Okay, Reggie Mundicus, when you're ready.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Reggie Mundicus, and thank you for this opportunity to address you today. I'd like to open by stating that I support the rainbow flag and whatever variant the LGBTQ plus community wants. I support that. The LGBTQ plus community has contributed greatly to society over the decades and has not been given their fair due and needs to be acknowledged. And the flag is one small way of acknowledging that. And I'd also like to attempt to quote something that Director Ashley Aiken said at a meeting, that getting your rights is not like getting a piece of pie. Just because someone else got their rights doesn't mean you get less of your rights. Rights are not pie. So with that, I'd like to move on to a more pressing issue than a flying of a flag. No offense to anybody who supports the flag. It's just the appalling lack of diversity in Orange County businesses at the OC Fair. We need an OC Fair that actually has businesses and food and beverages from Orange County. We have an extraordinary Viet community, but I can't get a banh mi sandwich at the OC Fair. We have Little Arabia in Anaheim, and I can't get a decent kebab or falafel at the OC Fair. One example of the lack of diversity is that ballots for elections in Orange County are printed in Spanish, Farsi, which is spoken by Persian people, Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese, Tagalog, which is the Filipino language, Japanese, Hindu, Hinda, and Gujarati. The OC Fairgrounds communicates mostly in English and occasionally in Spanish. We need to change that. By welcoming people in their language and speaking their languages, you get them to participate and feel welcome. And then once you get them to participate and feel welcome and understand how to access your resources and activities, you will start to see more of their businesses. The other issue I'd like to address is the lack of Orange County businesses at the Orange County Fair. At the 2019 fair, over 95% of the space given to selling food and beverages was given to sellers outside of Orange County, including over 13% of that selling space given to a company from Florida. Over 70% of the merchandise selling space at the 2019 OC Fair was given to companies outside of Orange County. What happens when those businesses from outside Orange County get that sales money? They take that money and their profits and they leave Orange County. Yeah, I know we get sales tax. Yeah, I know we get like 5-week part-time jobs out of this deal. We want people to actually be able to come in to their fair. The people who actually live in Orange County, the people who actually have restaurants and food carts and unique items. We want them to actually be able to sell at the Orange County Fair. We need to become more Orange County focused and less focused on businesses from Florida, less focused on businesses from Arizona, less focused on businesses from San Diego. We want our focus of our Orange County Fair to be Orange County, people, culture, businesses, and food. Thank you.
Thank you, Reggie. Great comments there on looking at the food vendors and on all the vendors at the OC Fair. So certainly something this committee can look into.
Up next, we have Gabrielle Gutierrez, followed by Robert Fisher, Joshua Block, and Craig Cooley. Gabrielle, when you're ready.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Gutierrez. My pronouns are she, her, and my fiance and I are new residents of Orange County. We moved here September of 2019. I moved here from Long Beach in a very wonderfully LGBTQIA+ affirming area. And recently, with the election and with all of the hatred that has been happening towards disenfranchised groups, my fiance and I, who are both members of the LGBTQIA community, have faced discrimination, vandalism. We're in the middle right now of trying to move out of our condo, and we are seriously considering leaving Orange County, even though he works for a theme park in Orange County and I also work in Orange County. I think the question of having a pride flag and having other flags be represented, and I agree with other people who are voicing their opinions, nobody is telling Little League that they cannot thrive. No one is trying to actively disband the Little League community or any other communities that have been brought up. To compare the two is comparing apples to oranges. Yes, they're both fruit, but they're vastly different. Who I am and who I choose to love, who my fiance is and how he chooses to gender affirm is not the same as Little League and sports and other other groups. And I think that Orange County needs to stand firmly with inclusivity and diversity and not stand with divisiveness, division, hatred, not allow a small privileged group of people who happen to live in Orange County hold everything. I also agree that we need to have more diversity in our parks, in our communities, to have the fairgrounds. I worked at the fairgrounds for Halloween and for Christmas this year. I was very, very blessed to have a job, not this year, last year, apologies. And I was shocked with how much, I mean, nothing was from Orange County, practically nothing was from Orange County. So I think that it's important to have more meetings like this. I think that it's important to put resources and efforts to getting surveys out more, to hearing people's voices more, to see what really will help people feel included. Because as of right now, there are people who don't feel included. And it's really hard for me not even to cry. I love living in Orange County. We live very close to the Surga Storm Center, and I love where we live, but I don't love the hate that comes with Orange County. Orange County is a very, very purple area, but it seems like only certain voices are being heard, as opposed to trying to hear all voices and trying to make sure that groups that are about inclusivity and diversity are being heard, instead of groups that are trying to actively squash and diminish a person's voice and a person's being. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate everything.
Thank you for sharing.
Robert Fisher, when you're ready.
Thank you. I appreciate your time today. I came in prepared to discuss the flag as well, blazing and ready to go, but I appreciate what everyone's already said thus far. Nicholas, I think you bring up a really important question, and I think there's a wonderful opportunity there as far as topics of diversity and inclusion that are important and that should be brought up to the community. And something that I'm working on, I'm a representative of Taco Bell in Irvine. Specifically, I'm the chair of Live Moss Pride, which is our Pride LGBTQ employee resource group. And we are one of 5 employee resource groups at the company. And something that we're working on right now is further and develop programs and events with educational and cultural activities that celebrate diverse cultures. Programs that offer educational experiences related to history or to the environment of particular groups or to particular people have been shown to effectively bring people together. And especially in a climate right now, people have that desire to learn and to grow and to change. And when we come together with those shared experiences, those social divisions are often dissolved naturally. So what I'm hoping for is a closer collaboration with the OC Fair group, similar to the OC Japan Fair. I mean, what a wonderful event to educate and enlighten and inspire people to a culture that they may not be familiar with. I think there's a great opportunity to collaborate with local school groups, organizations like the LGBTQ Center of OC, and business ERGs like my own, to help establish strong programs in solidarity, to support those cultural groups, and with the work of the OC Fair Board to continue to foster that education of the hearts and the minds of our community. And there are plenty of businesses like Taco Bell. We have Latinx, a women's group, a Black group, and an Asian group. Blizzard Entertainment has ERGs, as well as the Disneyland Resort and Knott's Berry Farm. So I would like to raise my hand and be happy to collaborate with you and the board on some of those events and activations to really get our community involved in furthering that discussion and education and enrichment. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert, and thanks for offering your services there. Appreciate it.
Joshua Block, when you're ready.
Hey there, my name is Joshua, and like a lot of other speakers, I totally came here to talk about the pride flag, but it seems like it's already been covered. So I just wanted to affirm my support for it and to thank all the other speakers who spoke about it, because it's such an important issue. But with this, I also wanted to take the opportunity to talk about local small businesses. A lot of small businesses have been really, really hurt by the pandemic. So I think that the OC Fair has a really unique opportunity to promote them in a way that it hasn't before. I also think that particular emphasis should be on Black and Brown owned local businesses and LGBT plus owned local businesses, which have been renewed attention to it because of the racial justice movement recently, but deserve attention at all times. And I think that the fair has a unique opportunity to uplift those voices, the small businesses, and voices all across Orange County. I've been going to the fair since I was young, and there's a lot of, let's say, like white and greasy food, to not put it like the nicest, but I think there's a real opportunity to have food from different cultures across Orange County and Southern California, which I truly didn't see that often. But thank you for that, and thank you for affirming the pride flag at the location.
Thank you.
Craig Cooley, when you're ready.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm so sorry. First of all, I would like to shout out to Robert Fisher and Taco Bell for a business stepping up to the plate and doing some good things for the LGBTQ community. I'm president of, thank you. I'm president of Laguna Beach Pride 365. We're a year-round organization. We're not just a Pride festival once a year. And I just want to say, I agree with so many great words that were spoken today, but I could add a few things. My personal experience last year, or actually the year before, was the first time we had participated with OC Fair, and it was out at the fair event, and we were there, and there were so many people that were so appreciative of our presence there. It was amazing, and there were tears shed and new friendships made, and it was a very heartwarming experience. And we were there for only one day. It would be great to be there for longer, but we were there for only one day. And to see the rainbow flag on the offices there when we came up to the event was very heartwarming. I appreciate that. And one other comment I want to say is Laguna Beach itself has declared June Gay Month forever and here forever on, and it is a proclamation before the city. We read it, but more to the point is that they decided that they would fly the flag every year for a month, even on Main Beach, that it is a flag of diversity, a non-political flag, because they are very much concerned about being fair with all political organizations. It is, like someone said, the veterans flag. It is a flag that should be recognized for diversity, because that's the way we look at it, as being diverse. I hope we can be there again next year, or Laguna Beach Pride, and support the community. We're, like I said, we're here year round, and we do lots of things to support the homeless and the needy, and it's all good, and it's all good, like Robert Fisher. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Jerry Lynn, followed by Janine Robbins, Vicky Shep, Megan, Toya Fitzgerald, and Dylan Doe. Jerry Lynn, when you're ready.
Hi there, I'm ready. So I've been participating in the calls with the OC Board of Directors for several months on this particular flag issue and diversity. And so what I kind of want to say today is I'm a bit perplexed about the conversation, because the conversation is about diversity, not about eliminating one or another, but allowing a plethora of ideas, right? Bringing in all kinds of different differences, I guess I might say. So I'm kind of sorry that this is taking on such a tone of only allowing one flag and not considering other people who might want to have a voice in flags as well. That would be my position. I came in with the position saying, I've noticed that there's a flag flying there that is for the LGBT community. Let's have some other flags flown that represent other people's interests. And that's what diversity is all about, allowing other people to express what is important to them, not saying that one person cannot have what's important to them versus another, right? We want to allow everybody's opinion and be diverse. So that's what I thought that this diversity group was about. It was about, let's talk about other things that we can do as well to make other people feel more inclusive, right? So that's my perspective. I didn't get the survey either, and I've been on these calls for months, and the survey wasn't sent to me. So maybe we do need to do something that little more outreach to a bigger crowd for, get other perspectives and be more diverse in what we're doing. But all that to say, I would like to have other flags flown at the OC Fairgrounds as well. Lots of different things that can be done, and we shouldn't just limit it to one. So that would be my perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Janine Robbins, when you're ready.
Good evening. Mike and I have been vendors at the Orange County Marketplace for 41 years, and we're vendors at the fair for over 20 years. During that time, we've had many experiences of discrimination against the LGBTQ population. And therefore we fully support the flying of this flag. We are very active in fairground politics, so many of the board members on this meeting are used to hearing from us on a regular basis. But I'm going to speak tonight in the interest of time. What some of you may not know is that Mike and I are full-time homeless advocates. Up to 40% of homeless youth are members of the LGBTQ population. I hear people say that flags should be flown to represent other interests. Well, the pride flag is not an interest. It is a segment of the population that has been horribly discriminated against, especially in this county. Let me tell you a story, what happened with us at the swap meet, maybe about 10 years ago, maybe even 15. We were selling, and a young gentleman ran into the stand yelling for help. He was Black, he was gay, and he was wearing a Star of David necklace. He was being chased by a group of white supremacists throughout the swap meet. He ran into our stand. Customers and my husband blocked the other people from entering the stand. We put him in the truck and locked it to keep him safe, while other vendors around us went in to go get the sheriffs. The sheriffs came, they took the people away who were chasing him. He went on his way. I will guarantee that he never came back. But what I would like to say is that the sheriffs did come back to us on another day and tell us that those people who they arrested were part of a well-known white supremacist family gang from South Orange County. Now that should not be happening, and people should feel welcome and they should feel included. And being gay is not an interest. What I also want to say about the survey is that the distribution of it was very poor. I myself probably forwarded the survey to 100 different people who were asking for it. They didn't know where to find it. And somehow or other, that does need to be changed for the future. So thank you so much for your time. And I hope that you will keep flying that flag. It represents so many people, whether you're gay or whether you're not. It represents inclusion, and that's important to all of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Janine. Appreciate you sharing that story.
Vicki Shep, when you're ready.
Thank you for the opportunity. I want to talk a broader scale on diversity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion best practices really include providing opportunities for people to learn by hearing and to heal and grow by sharing their stories. So many of you are probably familiar with projects like StoryCorps and the Humans of New York. Those are two great examples of the power of stories. So I'd like to propose that the Orange County Fair and Event Center work with all, or as many possible, of the diverse Orange County communities and organizations to create a place or event, a repository of and for the stories and for story sharing of the diverse peoples who call Orange County home and who work to make Orange County great. Thank you.
Okay, Megan, there's a Megan that wanted to speak when you're ready.
Hi, yeah, thanks for letting me speak. My name is Megan Inman. I'm just a community member. I live in Huntington Beach. My pronouns are she and her. I grew up in Orange County. I live in Orange County. I'm an LGBT person who lives here. I just wanted to talk about a little bit about diversity and inclusion and what that means in a lot of different ways. A lot of people talked about the importance of the inclusion of the flag, which is really valid and hugely important. So I just want to talk about what the removal of the flag will say to our community and to us as LGBT plus people. Before I talk about that, though, I want to echo the sentiments of others that flying the pride flag is perhaps the smallest thing that can be done to show support for LGBT plus people. Like one speaker said, is more akin to words than actions. LGBT businesses and people should also be supported in tangible ways that progress their success, as they're routinely excluded and disenfranchised from almost every aspect of society. So when even one of the smallest and easiest ways to show public affirmation of our people becomes an issue for debate, how are we to believe even more meaningful efforts to validate and support us will be mobilized and welcomed? That's a pretty crushing hope that our community, particularly our young people, can't afford. Removal of the flag sends a message to us that our identities are up for debate and somehow a political issue. Disappearance of the flag sends a message to us that our community should continue to fly, if you will, under the radar. It will embolden homophobia in our community. Removal of the flag validates the ignorance of those that believe our identities are not valid, are unnatural, should not be talked about, and should not exist topically in our society. Diversity is a bit of a broad term. Like others have already touched on, it's important to differentiate between the diversity of human beings themselves and the diversity of interests and passions of those human beings. My identity as a queer woman is not an interest or a passion. I did not choose it. LGBT plus identities are not a special interest, a belief system, a social group, an extracurricular activity, or a political alignment. We are human beings who exist. We do not choose to be who we are, like someone chooses an interest or a belief system. Removal of the flag is a reminder that our existence should be censored in certain parts of society. It reminds us that while we may be allowed to access public gatherings, talking about our experiences as LGBT people or having a platform is unwelcome. The idea that LGBT people being openly accepted is a political is a political statement is born of homophobia, because it stems from this homophobic belief that intolerance to LGBT people is a simple difference of opinion instead of what it is, which is intolerance and hate. So that's all I have to say on that subject, is that it's pretty hugely important for us to see that flag, and it's even more, I think, of a striking message to then take it down. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for sharing.
Toya Fitzgerald, when you're ready.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Yeah, and my heart is just heavy for so many people who have been discriminated against. That just breaks my heart, and I'm so sorry for anybody that's happened to. That's just not what life should be about. So I just want to say I'm sorry, and I want to say thank you so much to the committee for hearing people on this issue. I am going to speak to the flag issue, but I do want to say thank you. And I say thank you for the Orange County Fairgrounds. And I look forward to being able to go back there one of these days. I too would love to see more diversity in the food. That would be fantastic. And just diversity overall. I have loved in the past, going to the Anatolian Festival. It's one of my favorite things I've done with my kids over the years. So bringing festivals like that, I think, are just really special and educational and informative for all of us, and really cultivates that diversity that we want to see. And I too think that diversity is super important. And so in terms of the flag issue, I mean, my first reaction was, it just seems like it should be simplified and just have I mean, I hope, and I know that this, obviously, just from hearing all of the comments, people do not feel this way, and I'm so sorry that they don't, but I feel like the United States of America flag should be representative of diversity. And I know that some members in the LGBTQ community and other communities don't necessarily feel that way, and I understand that. I would love for it to, that's our hope and dream someday. And so I would just love to advocate for either inclusion of many other flags, and I'm not talking about Little League, I'm talking about flags that represent people of all different walks of life, who identify, as Christians, as Jews, as Muslims, as, in terms of religious groups. I think that would be great, because I think there's a need there. But either to include a lot of other flags or just to simplify it. And it's certainly, I can understand why somebody would say taking down the flag would be hurtful. I totally get that. I don't think anybody's advocating taking down the flag altogether. I think it's just being flown year round, and maybe we can either rotate other flags, or I don't know how we can do that. I know it's a tricky issue, and I certainly am sensitive to other people's hurts and desires. So thanks for hearing me out, and thanks for having the committee, and I look forward to getting back to the fairgrounds soon.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we're going to have Mayor Pro Tem Andrea Marr, followed by Dylan Doe, Gia Gaffini, Todd Martin, and Cross. Mayor Pro Tem, when you're ready.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I was first informed about this item about a week ago from members of the LGBT community who contacted me, specifically concerned that the flag was being taken down. From what I understand, there wasn't a staff report, so I guess I'm a little confused about whether there's a proposal to take it down or not, and I think that's probably the case for a lot of people. About a year and a half ago, we flew the pride flag for the first time at City Hall, and the messages of love and support and appreciation that we received made me cry for about a week. That city council meeting was probably, I've had a couple of emotional city council meetings in my term in office, but that was one that was so striking for so many people. And I think what was the most impressive for me was the number of folks who didn't think this was an issue, who didn't think it affected them, who didn't know anyone who was gay, and thought, why is this a thing that the city is doing? And then they heard the stories like the ones that we were hearing on this call, the stories from people who called in, who wrote in, who expressed themselves and said, this matters so much. This is a symbol that represents so much. And to hear folks in the community who, again, had no connection with the pride flag say, that changed my heart, is the reason that that flag should continue to fly at Costa Mesa City Hall and at the OC Fair. Because inclusion matters, because honoring people in our community matters. And if there's one thing I'm able to do in my term in City Council, it is, if I'm able to do this, then I will consider myself a success. It's to lift up people who have not previously had a voice or been recognized to the extent that they should. And so if we can take every opportunity under the sun to celebrate people, especially after a really crappy year, right? I want to run by that flag every single day and be happy that it is there and that it is celebrating people in the community who have not always had the voice that they should have. So I appreciate this very much, that you were having this opportunity for folks to speak. I think there's a little bit of clarity necessary about what the proposal from the fairgrounds is. But please, 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 please continue to celebrate Pride.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Appreciate you joining us.
Dylan Dow, when you're ready.
Hi, so my name is Dylan Dow. I'm a 15-year-old student from Falmouth Valley High School. As a member of the queer community, I've seen so much hatred for people in my community. I've seen a friend nearly drive himself to suicide because of hate comments, and I myself, I'm waiting until the day that I receive hate comments myself. This is the life that I'm growing up in. This would not happen if there were more support shown for queer people like I am, like my friends, like all the other students in my club. So I know people have brought up this a lot, but to me, it would be incredibly important to see more youth-friendly spaces for minors who are queer. As a minor, I can't go into a gay bar. I can't walk up to an adult and get to know them because I can only connect so much to an adult, an entire generation away from me. And I feel like a lot of other minors like me can emphasize. So to me, the OC Fair, it's a wonderful opportunity to be able to show show opportunities for queer spaces for minors, because my friends go there, I go there. I know a lot of other kids go there for the rides and stuff. So it would be incredibly important for me and probably for a lot of other people to have such great representation in this. I hope you give this a thought, and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Okay, Gia Gaffney, when you're ready.
Sorry, I was talking and I didn't unmute myself. It's Gia, and I wanted to speak because I think I represent just like a regular person in Orange County who goes to the fair with my kids. I was a Girl Scout leader for 5 years, a soccer mom. I'm also a community youth advocate, and I also was involved with a lawsuit where I sued the state of California. And here's why I bring that up. A majority of the complaints that I received through that lawsuit, without violating anyone's confidentiality, were from Orange County. Orange County is known statewide as a place where lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender children do not have a safe place to learn. It's known as the place where Blaise Bernstein was murdered in a local park. It's known as a place where there's sort of a undercurrent of Christianity that is tribal and closed instead of open and inclusive. This is how our county is known statewide. And I know this because I sued the state of California. So I guess what I'm saying is, this is not really an issue of let's have a flag for everybody. This should be looked at, to me, as a regular soccer mom who likes to bring my kids places, as a place where everyone can feel safe. And when I see the rainbow flag, even as a straight white person, Christian, I feel included. I feel like, oh, this is a wonderful place that loves everyone. Yeah. Because I don't want to offend anyone or say things harshly, but I mean, even though today may have been an inclusive day in our country, LGBT kids are still the most marginalized group. Transgender kids have a suicide rate that is astronomically higher than any other group. And this is just about a flag. So like somebody else said, this is like a minimum standard. But I mean, I don't know who else wants their flag to be flown, because it's been very hard to get information about this. I was really happy to find this Zoom meeting. But when I see the rainbow flag, I think, oh, good, I can take my kids there. And I can take my friends there. And it's a safe place for everyone. So I guess I wish everyone looked at it like that. That's all.
Thank you. And just wanted to comment, because I know it came up a couple times, if maybe people didn't hear in the beginning. Just to reiterate, there is no issue before the committee or the board initiative to take down the flag, or quite frankly, any initiative to put up other flags. I think this is something that we wanted to hear from the community, and I think it's been great to hear all the stories and thoughts that you guys have shared. But just wanted to reiterate that nothing has been proposed to take down the flag. So do not worry about that. And we can keep going. Just to bring back to the original question, and I know we've been having a great discussion or certainly dialogue here, but do want to know what topics interest the community. And I think we've heard a few already, and certainly the pride flag flying is important to a lot of folks here at this meeting, and we've heard that loud and clear. And I do appreciate actually hearing the stories, though. It's been nice. Just want to stay focused as we are already at 5:15. Director Ruiz has to leave at 5:30. So anyways, let's get back to the queue here, Summer. And again, the question is really what topics are of interest to the community that the Community Affairs Committee could take up. Also, that brings me to another point. It is the Community Affairs Committee, not the Diversity Committee, but the Community Affairs Committee has agreed to take up diversity initiatives within our committee. So just wanted to correct that because that was mentioned earlier. Sorry, Summer, go ahead.
I have 3 more speakers, Todd Martin, followed by Cross and Andrew Connor. Todd, when you're ready.
Okay, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, my name's Todd Martin. I've been a resident here in Costa Mesa my entire life, 53 years. And, I'll make this brief. There's obviously not a lot of time left, but I don't see the flags up there as being diverse. It's literally our state flag and our California flag, and I think that's great. And then one other flag who's been up there full time, but I don't see any allowance for other flags, which is my concern. It's anything but diverse. And I'd like to see a change. I saw there was a, oh gosh, what was it? A petition, not a petition put out there, but they did a, what do you call that? Sorry, I'm just spacing out, but there was a lot of people who weighed in on this issue. And
we did a survey.
Survey. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Thank you. And the survey that I saw, at least the results were that most people were in favor of just having those 2 flags and then occasionally flying other flags, but not having preference for any specific group. And that's where I see unfairness. And I understand people's concern for, the gay pride, things like that, but there's also other groups out there who would like to be recognized as well. And there's flags I would love to see flying up there full time. But the fact that they're not allowed to, and only one specific group is very unfair to me. So anyways, that's my reason for weighing in, and I'll sign out at this point. Thank you very much for allowing me to voice my opinion.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Todd. Cross, when you're ready.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, sorry about the name. I'm actually Christina Ross. It came through as Cross. I'm a queer woman living in Irvine, and I grew up in Los Angeles County, not Orange County. Yeah, I know I'm another person talking about the flag, and I'll try to keep it quick. But my folks, when I was a kid, it's like, no, we're going to the Orange County Fair. We never went to the LA County Fair. It's like, LA doesn't know how to do it. LA can't do it right. Orange County, you want to go to a fair, you go to Orange County. So it's a point of pride. It's, pun not intended, it's a destination for people who don't even live in the county. And honestly, it's nice to see that it's welcoming. Obviously, the traditional pride things that you'd see during the summer really haven't happened this year. So it's always nice to have the community recognition that we do. And really, Orange County still has progress to make on these things. Irvine's nasty anti-LGBTQ ordinance, Measure N, was put in place in the 80s. It only was repealed less than a year ago. I really think we're not quite at the point where you can put the queer community representation aside, like, oh, we've already achieved that. We're still in the stage of needing to make people feel explicitly welcome, because in a lot of senses, they're explicitly not. It's not. And I think a lot of other people on this call can go, if you don't explicitly know you're welcome, it can be very nerve-wracking. If you can't just assume that you're wanted there. And I wanted to reiterate also what Dylan Dow said. She's absolutely right that the community needs some more spaces that are not, that are friendly to minors. It can't just be an issue of bars or temporary events. So the sense of welcome is really valuable. And I don't, it's not a matter of crowding anybody else out. It's not a matter of saying having the pride flag up is a reason, like, but we shouldn't ever have any of the others. But keeping it up is important, and it can be, I think, hard to realize for some folks how important even just a small gesture like seeing the flag when you go by is. So I'm glad that it's flying, and I hope that it continues to fly. And it's really not an expression of hostility towards anybody else. That was it, said my piece. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew Connor, when you're ready.
Hi, everybody. Just to clear it up, that's Andrew Connor. I'm Brian Terry. We work with OC Pride. I'm the director of marketing, and Andy is my assistant. I came in here not fully prepared, just because I just found out about this meeting. But it sounds like everybody had amazing opinions, so I'm not going to repeat what everybody else has said. All I will say is that the pride flag is the very definition of inclusivity and diversity. That flag represents, the LGBT community. It represents Black folk, brown folk, like straight allies. It touches everybody. So I'm so happy to hear that there's no initiative to take down the flag. I just think that there's a misunderstanding for people who aren't maybe in the know about that pride flag, about what it actually represents. They just possibly think, oh, gay people, I think they're getting special treatment. That's not necessarily the case. It is everybody. It's my ally mom. It's, your brother, your sister. We are part of your community and we're not going anywhere. So I don't understand the pushback that I keep seeing. We should be encouraging these things. So again, I'm very proud to hear that everybody's just kind of on the same page for the most part, that we just want to make sure that we are sticking to diversity. And I'll close just by doing a shameless plug. If you are interested in helping out with OC Pride and strengthening our community, just reach out to me, Brian at prideoc.com, BRYAN. Thank you. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to say Mayan Jolly Budla and Louis. Go ahead.
It's just Maya, thank you. I forgot to change my name. Give me 1 second. Sorry, my connection is a bit staticky. Yes. So, hello, my name is Maya Bodla, a 15-year-old who is the FBHS and a member of the LGBTQ community. The pride flag, while to others may just be a symbol of what we are and what it means, and that's all it means to them, but to us it is so much more. You do not know how many times my heart goes racing or I get a spark of joy when I see something that is friendly to us. Showing the flag at your wonderful fair will really help people who maybe like me are just looking for a place where we can be ourselves and not risk being hurt or scorned. I've experienced that, and I can assure you it is the worst feeling that someone doesn't accept you. It makes you want to crawl in a hole and disappear so you don't have to deal with what's going on. Maybe if possible, more inclusion of different people in the LGBTQ community would be nice. So I know some of my friends who are members do not have much representation about them. Even just having speakers of people who understand what we go through and experience would be good for us and show that you care. Having events or information on social media can help people, as like in my instance, I felt like I was alone and thought there was no one I could speak to. I hope you consider my opinion. I wrote this before I realized that the flag, that you weren't going to take it down. So that wasn't an issue that you're really discussing, but thank you so much for hearing me.
Thank you.
Okay, and then we have Louis Huang, when you're ready.
Yes, thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak with a distinguished group of OC Fair leaders. Let's flash back to 2004. I was in San Francisco I was a senior in high school, and my mayor, Gavin Newsom, legalized gay marriage. And I, as a high school student who didn't really know anything, I saw the gay marriages happening in my city at City Hall, and I thought it was the most beautiful thing. And I'm just thinking back, the whole symbolism of taking down a pride flag, not just at OC Fair, not just anywhere in the world now in 2021 is it's likened back to going back to reversing gay marriage anywhere in the world. It's I'm not going to harp back on everything that everyone has already said, but that's regressing instead of progressing. So that's really my only comment. Please definitely let's keep the flag, and let's keep doing more for LGBT plus, and and I'm going to end my time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Director Kovacevic, I believe that was the last speaker that I have in the queue. I could be wrong. There's lots going on in the chat. So if anybody else would like to speak, oh, Jackie Garcia just raised her hand, would like to speak. Go ahead, Jackie.
Okay, thank you. I'll make it short and sweet because everybody covered so much, and I really appreciate that we're having this meeting, that we're having these conversations. And I can only speak to, I reflect on myself, a young, 15-year-old gay girl in Irvine. And, I'm just so proud of Maya and Dylan and these people speaking up. Sorry to get emotional, but it's so true. That feeling of feeling alone and not being able to talk to anyone and not feeling like Orange County, like, is there space for us? And so that flag is a great start, but having these conversations, figuring out a way to continue to push that visibility of acceptance and safetiness in the community is huge. And I think when you think about the fairgrounds and going to the fair, like, I think about having my own children, and I'm getting to that point where I think about, well, am I going to feel comfortable, being with my partner and being with our children? So I think about those things, and it starts here. I'm going to try to push and help the community so that, I can be a proud parent. And also, if I have a child who's part of the LGBT community, I want to know that they feel safe. So there's just, it's just so important. So I think I'm grateful for everybody's input and bravery. I'm just astounded by it. And I hope that we can continue to work together and collaborate and make this home our home, truly. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. And thanks everyone. I believe we have all the speakers were able to speak, and we're right at 5:30, so it's perfect timing. I want to, of course, thank everyone. I think this was great. I hope that we can continue to have dialogue. I really appreciate everyone, the way that you folks approach this in a very just very professional manner, and being able to have an open dialogue and about something that's important to the community, and also bringing up some issues. There were a lot of issues discussed outside of the flag, which is great too, and we have taken those down, and this is exactly what we hope to get out of this discussion, is for ideas from the community that we can then take and put to work. So next steps, we will be gathering this feedback. We've received emails, we've reviewed those. So we've gotten all the feedback there, and of course the survey, which we've talked about, and we'll be putting that in our report. Director Ruiz and I will, as the Community Affairs report for the next board meeting, which is on January 28th. Again, there's not going to be any action items at the board meeting on January 28th either. So there's literally nothing scheduled to vote on. And we're just going to continue, to do what we do here with this committee. Now that we have some direction, I think it gives us, some areas that we can think about and potentially take action down the road. So again, this was helpful. We hope to have more of these meetings and seek more input from the community. I want to give Director Ruiz an opportunity to say anything he'd like to say before we adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Nick. I just wanted to thank everyone for their participation. Lots of great input from everyone. I didn't expect it to be this much participation, but I'm glad it did. I'm sorry I have to cut out because I have another Zoom meeting coming up here shortly. Again, I just want to thank everyone. Lots of great input, and like Director Kovacevic said, we're going to take this information back to our board meeting on the 28th. We'll discuss it again. We won't be taking any action. I look forward to working with all of you in the next coming meetings and hopefully get more input so we can change the OC Fair and get more diversity going at our fair in this coming year. Once again, thank everyone for your participation.
All right, thanks, Director Ruiz. And thank you to Summer for helping us with the roll call and getting all the speakers the opportunity to speak. I certainly learned a lot, and it was very great to hear from everyone. So CEO Michelle Richards, do you have any comments before we adjourn?
Well, I just wanted to thank everybody. This was an amazing meeting. You all are very important to us at the OC Fair and Events Center. All of your voices are important. Everyone's voice is important to us. And I'm so happy that so many of you could come and share your stories and your opinions. We value them highly. So I know the Community Affairs Committee is going to have an ongoing interest in reflecting at the OC Fair and our other programs what is important to the community at large. So there will be many opportunities to give feedback on this and other issues, and we hope that you'll participate. So thank you, everybody. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.